Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, is my screen visible to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. So in the last class, we had a discussion on this numerical example, which was asked in the previous year question paper. It's a very simple numerical example, but to understand the loadings, it's a trickier one. But as far as my knowledge goes, I think I have conveyed you all on how to find out this MZ. Okay, that is, and the column is actually subjected to uniaxial bending. They have directly given 675 kilonewton, that is the actual compressive force, but they have not given the uniaxial bending moment. But instead of that, they had given you the two beams are getting connected and the end reactions are like that and something like that. Okay, so based on that, and I also told you how to find out the MZ. What happens actually, these end reactions will form a resultant force, and that resultant is actually not passing through the axial, means the not passing through the CG of the column. Instead, it is having some eccentricity with respect to the CG of the column, that is center line of the column. So because of that eccentricity, this resultant will cause a bending moment mz, which is nothing but the resultant multiplied by the eccentricity. So, and we came to know that it is something around mz equal to 22.5 kilonewton meter. So finally, we know that the factored axial compressive load was 6675 kilonewtons, and the factored bending along major and minor, I'm sorry, factored bending moment along major axis at both at the top and bottom of the column is same. Why it is same? Because in the numerical example only they have told that the bottom end of the column has a similar arrangement as well as the loading, means the top end of the column and the bottom end of the column are having the same arrangement. So because of that only, the bending moment will also be same at the top and bottom. And they have asked us to find out whether this ISHB 300 is sufficient to carry these loads or not. So next what I have done is I have listed down ISHB 300 properties. Okay, these are the properties of ISHB 300. Then we'll proceed further and we'll see whether the section falls under compact or semi-compact sections. Epsilon will be 1. B by TF is actually 11.78, which is less than 15.7 epsilon. D by TW is 29.65, which is less than 42 epsilon. So if you refer table uh, 2, table 2 of IS 800 2007, you see that the section falls under semi-compact. Hence, ISHB 300, whatever section we are following, is a semi-compact section. Okay, let us proceed further and start with the checks. So first check is actually check for resistance of cross section to combined effects. So you have to refer clause 9.3.1.3, and in that clause this equation you have to refer. So but since ours is a uniaxial bending moment, this will not come into picture. Since ours is a falling under uniaxial bending moment, so this term will not come into picture. So this term goes out to be 0. So you have to go with only this and this. Okay. So I have rewritten that equation, n by nd is equal to mz divided by mdz, and this summation should be less than or equal to 1. Okay, let us proceed. So n is actually the actual compressive load which is applied on the column, which is 675 kilonewtons. Actual compressive load which is applied on the column, and nd is ag, that is the gross cross sectional area of the ISHB 300 multiplied by fy divided by gamma m naught. So gross cross sectional area, I will just write it down. ISHB 300. So it is 8025. So the gross cross sectional area is 8025 multiplied by Fy is 250 divided by gamma m naught that is the partial safety factor is 1.1. So if you do that, you will get the value of ND as 1823.86. 0.8 kilonewtons, 1823.8 kilonewtons, ND. Then MZ is the maximum bending moment which is applied on the column, which we know that it is 22.5. MDZ is calculated as beta B ZP times Fy divided by gamma m naught. Since it is a semi-compact section, beta B is given as ZE divided by ZP. So this equation reduces to this form, that is MDZ is equal to ZE times Fy divided by gamma m naught, where ZE is actually the elastic section modulus along major axis. That also we know, that is 863300. You can see here it is 863300. So that I have to substitute here 863300. Okay, ZEZ multiplied by Fy is 250 and gamma m naught is 1.1. So this comes out to be 863300 times 250 divided by 1.1. So that comes out to be 196.2 kilonewton meter. 196.2. So now we know in this equation N we know, ND we know, MZ we know, and MDZ we know. Let us substitute all of them one by one. So N is 675. ND we have calculated it as 1823.8. MZ is 22.5. We know that. And MDZ is 196.2. Okay, so 675 divided by 1823.8 plus 22.5 divided by 196.2. So this comes out to be 0.48. Since it is less than 1, hence it is safe for this check, that is check for cross section to combined effects. Are you clear, students? Any doubts you have in this check? Any doubts?
No, sir.
Okay, right. So we'll
Sir,
come to the yes.
sir, what if the check fails?
Yes.
If
Yeah,
the check fails,
see, I told initially only here in the numerical example, they have given that. First, I will come to a specific numerical example. So they have told that you have to check the ISHB 300 adequacy. So whenever these type of numerical examples will be asked in the exam, like check whether the ISHB 300 is adequate to take all these loads or not. If it is asked like that, it is by default obvious that this section will actually pass for all these loads. Okay, they only want you to prove that it is adequate. Okay, they only want you to prove that it is adequate. This is the first thing specific to this numerical example. Okay, whenever you are doing design examples where this will not be given, so they will ask you design a column in a framed building, something like that. Okay, then in that case, if you are gone for ISHB 300 and it is failing, then you have to go for the next higher section. That is the only option available with you. Are you clear?
yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. So usually what happens in these type of numerical examples where they will only give you the section and check and tell you to check the adequacy, 100% in all the checks it will pass. They only want you to prove, because see what happens, what is the logic? They will give you ISHB 300 and what is the logic if it fails in the first check only, right? If it fails in the first check, then immediately you can write, since it is not adequate, it is failing in the combined effects. So hence the section is not adequate. So you can end the problem there and then and there only. But there is no logic in that. Okay, so in most of the cases, when they give you to check any section, so it will pass. They only want you to prove, right? Okay, but in design problems, it may fail because you have chosen a section. So in design problems, if it fails, you have to go for the next higher section. That is the only option. Okay, so we'll come to the next check, that is the member buckling resistance in compression. This is the next check what we'll be seeing. That is the member buckling resistance in compression. So in the numerical example only, they have told that the effective length is to be taken as 3.2 meters along both the axes. So it should be KLZ is equal to KLY is equal to 3.2 meters. So let us find out the slenderness ratio along both the axes, that is major axis and the minor axis. So it is KLZ divided by RZ, where RZ is the radius of gyration along major axis and RY is the radius of gyration along minor axis. So this comes out to be 3200 divided by 127. This comes out to be 25.19 and 3200 divided by 52.9. So this comes out to be 60.49. Now you need to find FCD along both major and minor axis. So to do that, what you have to do, you have to check the ratio of H by B. That is H is total depth of the section, that is ISHB 300 divided by B is actually the flange width. So 300 divided by 250 is 1.2 and the thickness of flange of ISHB 300 is obviously less than 100 mm. So this condition is satisfied in and if when you see table 10 of code, okay, let me just tell you that also. I have already given you how to refer this, but once again I will just tell you table 10 of IS 800 2007. Yeah, here it is, table 10. You can see. So you are actually looking into rolled sections. So you have to see this. And if you see here, your H by B is less than or equal to 1.2 and thickness of flange is less than 100 mm. So this will not come into picture. This will not come into picture, right? Then in this case, along major axis, you have to refer curve B, that is table 9B, and along minor axis, you have to refer curve B, that is table 9C. So let me come to numerical example. Yeah, so here you can see. So for major axis, you have to refer table 9B and for minor axis, you have to refer table 9C. Why these tables are being used? These are being used to calculate FCD, that is design compressive stress. OK, so let us check. So for KLZ by RZ is equal to 25.19. And for Fy equal to 250 megapascal, what will be the value of FCD? So let us come back to IS 800 2007. And now I need to refer table 9B for major axis. Here it is, table 9B. Yeah. So my KL by R is something around 25. OK, I will take it as in between 20 and 30, 25, and you have to refer for 250. So your FCD will fall somewhere in between this. That is average of 225 and 216. Actually, you have to do correct linear interpolation, but for this case, I'm taking average value. So 225 plus 216 divided by 2. So it is 220.5. So FCD will be 220.5 Newton per mm square. For KLZ by RZ equal to 25 and Fy equal to 250. So with this, I can easily calculate PDZ, that is 220.5 220.5 multiplied by the gross cross-sectional area, 220.5 multiplied by 8025. So this comes out to be 1769.51. 51 kilonewton. Since it is more than the applied load of 675 kilonewtons, hence it is OK. Now similarly, I need to calculate PDY. For that, I have to refer for KLY by RY equal to 60.49. And Fy equal to 250 megapascal. I have to now refer table 9C. OK, so let me come back to IS 800 2007, referring table 9C. For 60, OK, for KL by R equal to 60 and 250, so it is 168. OK, 168. So let us come back. FCD is actually 168. So it is 168 multiplied by the gross cross-sectional area, that is 8025. So this comes out to be 1348.2. And since this is also more than 675 kilonewtons, hence it is okay. Are you clear, students, with this check? Are you clear? Any doubts you have? Any doubts, students?
No, sir.
Okay, right. So this is a second check, similar to the first numerical example only. Everything is similar, right? So you have to calculate PDZ, PDY and check whether both of them are more than the actual applied axial compressive load, which is 675 kilonewton. So if it is more than that, hence it is okay. Now we'll come to the third check, wherein we will be actually checking the member buckling resistance in bending. Member buckling resistance in bending. So the formula is MD is equal to beta B ZP into FBD. But since beta B is equal to ZD divided by ZP for the semi-compact sections, so the formula reduces to this form. That is MD is equal to ZD into FBD. So now we need to calculate FBD. So to calculate FBD, first I need to calculate MCR, that is elastic critical moment, which is can be found using IS 800 2007 clause 8.2.2.1. Okay, let us proceed. Pi square E IY, that is the moment of inertia along minor axis, is 22467,000. Okay, multiplied by HF is actually the total depth of the section, that is 300 minus 2 times the thickness of flange. So which comes out to be 278.8. This whole thing divided by 2 times LT square. LT is actually the effective length of the column, and they have given it as 3200 millimeters. This multiplied by 1 plus 1 divided by 20, and LT, that is 3200 divided by RY. RY is actually 52.9. This divided by HF, that is 278.8, divided by TF is actually thickness of flange, that is 10.6. So this square and this whole raised to 0.5. So once you solve this, I'm getting it as 678.8. 678.8 kilonewton meter. That is elastic critical moment. So once you know elastic critical moment, you can calculate lambda LT, which is beta B ZP Z Fy divided by MCR. But since once again beta B is ZE divided by ZP, so that ZP will go. So you will be left out with elastic section modulus along major axis times Fy divided by MCR. So elastic section modulus along major axis is 863300. Times Fy is 250 divided by MCR is 678.8. So, but you have to put it in the form of Newton millimeters. So I have to multiply it by 10 raised to 6. So this lambda LT comes out to be 0.56. Okay. Once you know lambda LT, you can easily calculate phi LT. That is 0.5 times alpha LT. Since alpha LT will be 0.21 because ours is a rolled section. So lambda LT is 0.56 minus 0.2 plus lambda LT is 0.56 square. Okay, so once you solve this, let me solve that. 0.56 square plus, okay, 0.56 minus 0.2 into 0.21 plus 0.56 square plus 1 times 0.5. So that comes out to be 0.69. Then you can easily calculate Xi LT using this formula. 0.69 plus 0.69 square minus 0.56 square, and this raised to only 0.5. So let me calculate that. 0.69 square minus 0.56 square raised to 0.5 plus 0.69. So I should do the inverse of that. 0.91. So xi-LT I'm getting 0.91 and it is less than 1. So it is okay. Now you can calculate the FBD, which is 0. That is xi-LT, that is 0.91 times Fy divided by gamma m naught. So 0.91 into 250 divided by 1.1. So I'm getting 206.81. Newton per millimeter square. So then you can calculate MdZ, which is ZdZ times FBD. So ZdZ is already 863300. Multiplied by FBD is 206.81. So this times 863300, which comes out to be 178.54 kilonewton meter. And since this is more than the actual applied moment, that is mz, okay, this is actually mz. Hence, the section is safe for the third check also. Are you clear, students, with this? Are you clear? Any doubts you have? Yeah, okay. Yeah. Now let me go to the next last check, that is the fourth check, wherein we'll be checking the member buckling resistance in combined bending and compression. But before that, I need to find the moment amplification factor. See, in the previous example, I used to calculate Kz, Ky, KLT, and CMZ, CMY, CMLT, and all those things. Here only one term will be required, that is Kz, because the column is subjected to only uniaxial bending moment. So Kz, as per IS 800/2007, I have told you the clause, that is 9.3.2.2. In that, Kz can be found using this formula. But before finding that Kz, I need to find lambda z. So lambda z is given by under the root Fy divided by Fc Rz. Fy is 250 and Fc Rz is calculated using this formula, that is pi square E divided by KLZ by Rz square. So if you do that, you will get Fc Rz as 3110.8. So let me just substitute that 3110.8. So it is 250 divided by 3110.8. So under the root of that, I'm getting 0.28 lambda z. So this lambda z you can substitute here. So let me substitute that. It is 0.28. Yes. 0.28 times 0.2 divided into 675. That is P divided by PDZ. PDZ also we have calculated just now. We have calculated PDZ. Yeah, it is 1769.51. 1769.51. Okay, this should be less than 1 plus 0.8 times P by PDZ. Once again, 1769.51. Okay, so let me just calculate that. So 0.28 minus 0.2 multiplied by 675 divided by 1769.51 plus 1. So it is 1.03. And this value is 675 divided by 1769.51 multiplied by 0.8 plus 1. So 1.3. So hence it is okay. Then you have to calculate psi z, okay, which is m2 divided by m1. That is lesser moment divided by greater moment. But in our case, we know that the bending moment at top and bottom of the column are same. Hence it is coming out to be 1. Then you have to calculate cmz using this formula. So which comes out to be 1. That is 0.6 plus 0.4 times xz, but xz is 1. So 0.6 plus 0.4 is 1 and it should be greater than 0.4. Hence this is also okay. Then we have this interaction formula which need to be checked and which should be less than or equal to 1. That is P divided by PDZ. So PDZ is 1769.51. KZ we have already calculated, which is coming out to be 1.03 times CMZ is actually 1 once again times MZ is 22.6, that we know, divided by MDZ we have calculated. MDZ is 178.54. Let us check how much it will be. 0.03 times 1 times 22.6 divided by 178.54, okay, plus 675 divided by 1769.51, which comes out to be 0.51, which is less than 1.0. Hence, ISHB 300 section is adequate to take the applied loads. So all these 4 cross checks we have done, and in all these checks, ISHB 300 is adequate to take the applied loads. So are you clear, students? Any doubts?
No, sir.
Yeah, see, it is same as the first numerical example what we have solved, but only thing is in first numerical example they had given you different MZ directly at top and bottom of the column, but in this numerical example they haven't given you MZ, but based on the these data you have to calculate the MZ value. Okay, so we'll stop the class here. What I would like to do is I will be posting one numerical example from the previous year question paper, and I want all of you to just try with that and get me the values of the actual loads which are being applied on the column. That is, it means I want P, I want MZ and MY both at top and bottom of the column. Okay, so I will, after this class, I will post that question, and I want all of you before next class, I want all of you to get those values. Okay, so let us stop the class here. So if you don't have any doubts, I can just